Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of this video on the AQA GCSE English Language Paper 2 Question 2. So in part 1 we went through what you needed to do in order to achieve the top level for this question, and in this video I'm just going to go through a sample answer for a practice question I'm going to provide you with just now. So in order to get these sources you need to head over to my website acaexams.wordpress.com, and you can get hold of the two sources, which are Charlotte Bronte and Andrew Marr. So the question is, you need to refer to source A and source B for this question, use details from both sources, write a summary of the differences between the exhibitions. Okay, so these are the two sources. Source A, Charlotte Bronte's letter to her father, and source B, Andrew Marr, A History of Modern Britain. Okay, so if you want to go and download those, have a read through and have a go at writing that question based on the paragraph structure and flowchart that I provided you with in part 1. Okay, so I'm hoping that you've had a go at that question now. What you can see is this sample answer here. Oh, just zoom in for you. There we go. All right, so as you can see, I started my answer with the general comment that I advised you to do. So both sources describe a world-renowned exhibition. However, source A is an excerpt from a non-fiction history book and source B is written in the form of a letter. Okay, and then you can see that I've written 3 paragraphs based on the paragraph flowchart that I provided you with. Now, each one of those paragraphs has a point, and in that point I say what the difference is between the two sources. Each of them has a quote and an inference for the source A, and then a quote and an inference for source B. And then each one has the summary, the general summary written at the end. So I'm just going to read through the first paragraph with you, just so you can fully understand how that flowchart works. So first of all, I say both sources explain that numerous visitors attended the exhibitions, but there is a marked difference in the way the events were managed. So the difference is the way the events were managed, okay? Then I've said source A details that the visitors made no irregular movements, despite there being vast numbers of people at the Crystal Palace exhibition that day. So I've used an embedded quote, and all I've used is one word for that quote, okay? And I've written that as a full sentence. So I've said, basically, there were loads of people at the Crystal Palace exhibition, but no trouble happened. So then I've said, the implication is that the event must have been extremely well organised in order to accommodate such large numbers of people without incident, okay? So that's my inference. It's what I'm saying is suggested by that particular quote. Then I use my comparative discourse marker. However, source B explains that the visitors had a long, freezing and damp wait. Okay, so I've taken, again, words, embedded that quote, and then I've said suggesting that a large number of people attended, but the event was hugely disorganised prior to even entering the celebrations. Okay, so I've considered that obviously there's a huge queue outside, which must suggest that loads of people were there. However, they didn't get them through into the event very quickly. So that suggests to me that it was very disorganised. So I've done my source A, quote and inference, and my source B, quote and inference. And this is where I then need to do my summary. Whilst it was anticipated that both exhibitions would have large numbers of visitors, the organisers of the Millennium Dome struggled to coordinate the entry of the guests. The Crystal Palace exhibition, in contrast, attracted vast numbers of people and managed them effectively. So again, I'm really considering what those quotes suggest about the exhibitions and how they are different. Now you can read through this sample answer in your own time, because you can get it as a download from my website, acaexams.wordpress.com. So have a read through and just see how you need to follow that flowchart plan really. Do your point, source A quote, source A inference, source B quote, source B inference, and then your summary. And as I said in part 1, if you can aim for 3 paragraphs, then that's great. But if it gets to the 10 minutes and you've only done 2, I would strongly suggest moving on to the next question, okay? The key to getting the top marks on this question is to really consider your inference and then making sure that you have a summary section at the end of your paragraphs which explicitly states what the differences are between the sources, okay? Because remember, that is the question that you are being asked. Okay, thank you ever so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel for further updates. And also head over to Twitter and follow me at AQA Exams if you've got any questions. Thanks ever so much. See you soon.